Moulson was born November 1st, 1983 in North York, Ontario. During his youth, he played both lacrosse and hockey. Due to his small size growing up, he suffered many injuries and was cut from numerous teams. Many doubted Moulson's talent and if he would ever succeed in hockey.
When I was 14, I actually think right before the game, all the parents had a meeting, and his mother, we'll go unnamed, said in front of all the parents of the players that I was one, if not the worst player in the league, and I shouldn't be on the team. You know, my dad was there for that, to hear that. I remember him coming down to me before the game, actually, and pulled me out of the dressing room and told me. And, I think I ended up going out that game and scoring 2 goals. But, it's something that kind of fueled me and, drove me to try and get where I wanted to be, to prove people wrong.
With the help of his father, Moulson defied his critics and continued to work hard to reach his goal.
There was a lot of sacrifices that had to be made. In my case, I remember my dad waking me up in the morning before school to go for runs, work out. He would just scoot us in the ground at about 6:15 in the morning. He would always tell me, if we're going to do this, you're going to have to work harder than anyone, just because of my size. And I do things other people aren't. My first year at junior, I had a pretty good year. I went to try out in the BCHL. I got cut from the Vernon Vipers. Tried out in the USHL. I got cut from Sioux City. I was kind of thinking, am I really as good as I think I am after having one good year in junior? And I knew at that point when I was 17, 18 that my hockey career wasn't exactly looking the brightest. So I wanted to go to school to fall back on. I started off real hot that my second year of junior. Cornell approached me after one of the games and they said, we really like you, we're going to kind of scout you over the next week. They called me up after the week and said, we'd like to offer you a spot. And I said, all right, I'm going to talk it over with my parents and I'll get back to you. And I immediately called my dad and said, Dad, Cornell just offered me a spot. He said, well, what'd you say? I said, I'd talk it over with you. He said, well, call him back, tell him you're going. I said, all right. So I called him right back and said, all right, I'm in.
At age 17, Moulson wrote an article for his high school newspaper about his acceptance to Cornell and the hardships he faced to get there.
I shared my struggles and some hills I had to climb and some adversity I had to face. I just wanted people to know that. It wasn't a pretty road or an easy road there, but eventually I got to where I wanted to be. After I finished what I thought was a pretty successful college career, I was drafted by Pittsburgh, and I hadn't had much contact with them, but I was pretty positive that they'd want to sign me after the 4 years I had. But they actually did not want to offer me a contract, so I was released to be a free agent. A couple weeks went by and my agent called me up in the car. He said, we got an offer from LA. So I said, all right, sounds good. So I went down to Cornell for I think 3 or 4 days and then headed to the rookie camp in LA to start my professional career.
In Moulson's first year with the LA Kings AHL affiliate, the Manchester Monarchs, he tallied 57 points, including 25 goals.
I think I was the only forward in the top 20 scoring on our team that didn't get called up my first year. My second year, I think I got called up after 9 games on my birthday for my first game against San Jose. I can't describe to anyone how happy or excited I was. I ended up scoring in my first game, and I had probably the biggest smile I've ever had in my life. I think the hardest part for me was the next year when I made the team out of camp and then had my place there and all my things shipped there and then got sent down 7 games later. That was probably the toughest, even after all the things that went on when I was 14, 15, 16, that was probably the toughest moment in my career. Getting sent down after making the team, pretty much feel just discarded and not wanted, and I continued to believe I was going to make it and I was going to do great things in the NHL. And that's what kept me going through all those tough times.
Moulson became a free agent after the 2008-2009 season and was signed by the New York Islanders, where he joined his longtime friend, John Tavares.
My brother, Chris, played with Johnny. They played lacrosse and hockey together growing up. When the Islanders called last year, I immediately called Johnny. He's like, no, you got to sign. You're going to be great. You're going to do great. You're a great player. You're going to do well. We can play together on the island. It'll be so fun. He was always by my side in training camp. He was the guy in my ear telling me, you're going to do great. You're playing great out there. And just his relationship with me and his friendship really instilled confidence in myself, and it really made me feel like I could be a good player in this league.
Moulson, who had played just 29 NHL games before 2009, proved to be one of the Islanders' best offensive players. He played in all 82 games and led the team with 30 goals. As he has done his entire career, Matt Moulson exceeded expectations.
Maybe after I'm done playing, I'll look back at it and say, I went through a lot of things, and I persevered. But right now, I don't know if it's kicked in yet. I don't know if I really realized all the things that I went through and had to go my way. And I've been very fortunate and lucky to get some good bounces along the way with the bad ones. No matter what, I'm going to have to continue to silence my critics, and I'm fine with that. That's kind of what drives me. And before it was her saying I was the worst player, now it's people saying I can't score 20, 30 goals again. So the next thing I have to do is silence them.
Do you expect more desperation or more urgency in a situation like this?
When you haven't made a deadline for 10 days or 12 days, you're probably pretty desperate to, I hate to use that word, but you're pretty anxious to win a game or do whatever you got to do to win a hockey game. You look at some of the plays that their guys were making, penalty kill and just doing whatever it took to keep the puck out of the net and whatever it took to score goals. And we're getting there. We're taking steps in the right direction to get there. But it's unfortunately that it's taken us a long time.
Do you sense that the urgency is there, Dwayne? Guys remain upbeat coming to the rink every day?
Yeah, guys are positive and upbeat and ready to go day in and day out. They're confident, and just the way things are going. And we need to get a couple goals that they got tonight to turn this thing around.
One more question, guys.
In terms of the passion, Moulson was saying the team needs more passion. Is there anything you see the team needs besides goals?
No, I think as a team we got to take it upon ourselves, to look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, have we done enough to win a hockey game tonight or the next day, or be ready to go for the guys sitting beside you and do whatever it takes to win a hockey game, whether it's blocking shots or getting sticks in lanes, stopping a puck that's going wide, going in the net and get one off your butt and go in the net to try and change this thing, the way this thing's going right now.
Thanks, Rolly. Thanks.
The second period obviously cost us the hockey game. That not getting the goal on the 5-on-3 was a big turning point. But the 5 or 6 minute lapse in the second obviously cost us the game.
Anything particular go wrong in that period?
Well, for me, it's you got to win the change game, and they changed before they were tired, and they beat us in that area. I think at times we had guys